How's it guys, Dayvy, FPL, and let's try this again. The deadline stream for blank game week 18 has increased by one more game week for the upcoming game week, and that's why the deadline has been shifted from earlier today to even in the afternoon, and now it might be in the evening for you guys, wherever you guys are around the world. The Aston Villa vs Burnley game being called off about an hour to 2 hours before the fixture actually was going to commence. Hopefully the Arsenal vs Leeds game does go ahead, but there's been some major concerns about tomorrow's fixtures, with apparently Mo Salah potentially testing positive. I don't want to say that that's a confirmed sort of thing. Okay, someone said there's an echo, so I do apologize. Is there an echo? Maybe I should change something up. Just let me know if the audio is fine. No, I don't really know. I have to wait for your guys' comments. Otherwise, they could. Maybe I'm going to just reset the audio or something like that. Just let me know in chat if it sounds fine. Okay, so someone says they can't hear any echo. All good, no echo, it's fine. Okay, sorry for that awkward pause there. If you can hear an echo, maybe refresh. I know my audio sometimes on these streams isn't the best. So just let me know if there's something that I can change, make it louder, make it softer, and so on and so forth. But I was talking about Mo Salah there. Potentially, Mo Salah might have tested positive. Apparently, he produced an inconclusive test yesterday, and they don't know if that's going to lead to a positive test today or tomorrow. So that's what I've kind of heard. No worries, Robert. I appreciate you putting in the chat anyways. I always appreciate feedback on how the stream is sounding and looking. But Mo Salah, that game might be postponed, might not. Apparently Liverpool now have 6 total players that might be positive. So that game is up in the air. And obviously that leads us to maybe not captain Salah tomorrow. Unfortunately, guys, there's so much unpredictability about today and tomorrow. I'm hoping that the Arsenal game, we will get clarity on that within the next half an hour to 45 minutes before the deadline. And I'll be hopefully take you guys up till that point, but I might have to drop off shortly before that. But I'll be doing the transfers though, because I think that an hour and a half before the deadline should be kind of the cutoff of when the game hopefully does get called off, or it's going to kind of go ahead. So the whole story about this game week is probably going to be a lot of comments about hits. If you guys have potentially 7 to 9 players, I luckily, if I do one free transfer, I will get to 10. And then I'm not going to go with a goalkeeper this week. I just think the goalkeepers aren't worth a hit, first of all. And there's not really a goalkeeper that I potentially want for this specific game week at the price point. Because I probably would upgrade Ben Foster instead of De Gea, because I still want De Gea for United's double game weeks coming up. But at this stage, I mean, this season could actually be postponed after this game week. Who kind of knows? It's a super tough plan. The only transfer I'm potentially doing, Joshua's asking me current plans there. The current transfer that I'm probably going to do is Ollie Watkins out for Lacazette. And the reason for that is I don't have any playing striker, and I need a striker to play in my formation. So I could always do Douglas Luiz to a Saka, but I just think then I would have to bench one of my playing options, and they could always get me points. So that's how I'll probably be doing Ollie Watkins to Lacazette. Has only lasted one game week in our team. Pretty good game week, 12 points. But with that fixture, I reckon that the game week 19 fixture might also get postponed. And then he faces Chelsea in game week 19 anyway. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about Ollie Watkins, and also worried about the Chelsea assets. So today, they have returned 3 more positive tests within the camp. That could be support staff, that could be practice squad players, that sort of thing. It might not actually be first team players, but we've got to kind of take it as worst case scenario, and that's going to be 3 more Chelsea options have tested positive. So that game might be called off as well. So it's really tough to kind of go by. I'm going to try to give you guys as much insight as possible, but unfortunately, there is, as I said, a lot of unpredictability. So Varun starting the stream with a lovely super chat saying Antonio to Lacazette or Duffy to Tierney or Tomiyasu. So Tierney, I would heed caution with him. Yes, he's a great option, but there might be some rotation there with that Arsenal squad. Tomiyasu, 100%, but I think you have to go with the more attacking option with Lacazette. Now, Varun, I would make sure that you don't have too much money in Antonio, and I would try and upgrade one of your other departments then. So Sean asking the same question basically as Varun, saying Tierney or Tomiyasu. I would go with Tomiyasu. I think that Tierney could potentially have some rotation, and you want to go for certainties right now. You want to go for certainties in the starting 11, and I think right now Tomiyasu is 100% going to start at right back. So that's what I would kind of go for. Helmi saying, I already have 3 Arsenal players. Who can replace Watkins? That is a super tough question. You could go for Gabriel Jesus if you have enough money. He probably would be my favorite alternative. But otherwise, you're probably going to look at someone like a Callum Wilson, because Out of the other departments, there's not many great options to kind of go for. You're not going to bring in someone like a Raul Jimenez before Chelsea. Liam asking Smith Rowe or Saka, 100% go for a Saka, just because he's more nailed. Actually, I don't even know if Smith Rowe is going to play tonight. I think that he might actually be benched for a Martinelli. So I think Saka is 100% the option to go for. Best replacement for Vardy, I think Lacazette this week looks quite good. Are you doing faster to Ramsdale? I won't be. I think that the advantage is on the attack this week against Leeds, and I have a small suspicion that they'll score against Arsenal. So I don't think it's worth a hit for Ramsdale when United might play their fixture next game week. Watkins, Louise, and Guaita to Laka, Saka, and Daka. No, Laka, Saka, and Ramsdale for a -8. I don't like the goalkeeper transfer for a hit call. I like the Lacazette and Saka transfers, though. I think that those moves look good. Take a -4 for 2 Gunners. Look, if the Arsenal game is going to go ahead, I think it's a great fixture for the Arsenal attack. And I think that that's why it's worth taking those hits. I think I would extend it to maybe a maximum of a -8. But banking on players tomorrow is too tough. I don't think I'll be taking hits for tomorrow's players unless it's Man City options. I think Man City's fixture has the best chance of going ahead out of all the fixtures tomorrow, because Liverpool and Chelsea have concerns over them at this current stage, whereas Man City, we've heard nothing about them, and Newcastle, although there's been a couple kind of rumors from the manager Eddie Howe, I think that team will also go ahead because they played Liverpool on Thursday and their full team looked quite fine. So I think the Man City teams, that would be the last team I'd take a hit for tomorrow. Otherwise, the Arsenal assets I think is fine. But from a defensive point of view, I don't know if I would be taking a hit for them. That's my own opinion. I just think that Leeds are going to look to rebound after that Man City loss, and I think they're going to kind of go hard at Arsenal tonight. White or Tierney, I think you got to go for certainty this week, and that's got to be Ben White. Tierney should start. Look, I'm not saying that he won't. I think that there is always a concern about him because he hasn't been their number one choice. Not when he was injured. The other guy came in. I can't remember his name exactly. How much in your bank? I think it's about 2.5 million. You should be able to see here. I can't see because the chat's blocking it, but you should be able to see my bank there. -4 for Sanchez to Ramsdale. I think the transfer of -4 was last week. I think this week we're stretching it a little bit too much. If you think Arsenal can keep a clean sheet 100%, but I won't do it for my own team because I already own Ben White. I don't actually want to kind of double up on that Arsenal defense. As I've mentioned, I think that Leeds will score against Arsenal. Harry saying 2.4. Okay, so I was a little bit off there. Tavares, yes, 100%. Sorry, that it is. Tavares and Tierney might rotate. I think Tierney should be fine, though. I just worry sometimes about that rotation. That's what I've been also seeing from a couple of Arsenal fans. If you are an Arsenal fan, you can drop it in the comments if you think. I think Tierney will play today, but there just is a slight suspicion. Sorry for hitting my desk. Captain KDB. I don't know if I'd captain a Man City option. Just because we're dealing with the positive tests already, and then we have to deal with Pep Roulette as well. The only player I would captain from Man City is a definite starter, which I think is going to be Cancelo. He's probably the only Man City option I'm considering. That's why I've got the vice captain on him, which could maybe go for it. Pratik saying Tierney was smashing last game you'll play. So there you go. So I think that's perfectly fine. If Tierney had a great game, I don't see why Arteta would bench him. It's kind of why I'm worrying about Martinelli and Smith Rowe as well, because Martinelli has also looked quite strong, and Smith Rowe might lose his place to him unless Martinelli has that knock. Would you take a hit to do Smith Rowe or Bernardo Silva to Foden? I wouldn't take a hit on either of those, Ryan. I would try and just get as many playing options as you can. And now's not the time to take hits for players that could potentially feature or have a fixture. And now's the time for getting those guys that don't, because that's your biggest upside, I feel, in my opinion. Jesus or Lacazette. Henry, I'm leaning towards Lacazette just because I think he will start, whereas Jesus could potentially be benched. Walker to Cancelo and Benteke to Laka or Gordon to Saka. -4 thoughts. So Walker to Cancelo, I understand, because apparently Kyle Walker wasn't pictured in the training squad today, I think, or it was the traveling squad today. It was either one of those teams. Apparently Kyle Walker wasn't seen, so you can basically assume that he might be benched. So then it's a little bit of a tougher scenario to go on. So I can understand that transfer, but the other ones, in terms of, I think you said Benteke to Lacazette or Gordon to Saka. So the Crystal Palace don't have a game. Everton don't have a game, if I remember correctly. So I think I prefer Saka slightly more than Lacazette, and I probably would do the Saka move. So apparently Reece James has tested positive, so that's a bit weird. Lots of people saying it, G-Ball as well, saying 2 more Chelsea players positive. Apparently Reece is one of them. So that is going to put a spanner in the works. Now Alonso apparently tested positive, so it's kind of everyone in my team's testing positive. Look, I think if Reece James and Alonso are testing positive, that game might not go ahead. That's my opinion. I think they might ask for a postponement since everyone's kind of getting one. I think if a team asks for one, then I think they'll get it. As Harry Pierce is saying, too many rumors right now. Just take it at face. Don't take it at face value. So take it with a pinch of salt here. They might not all be true. I don't think the managers weren't even telling us in press conferences who was positive. So I don't really know how the rumors have got out. Maybe from some inside sources, but I think as Harry was saying that I wouldn't be moving too much on these rumors. Maybe make sure your vice captain's on someone that's great. That's actually a tough spot to be in. Would you guys rather vice captain Cancelo or vice captain a safe option like a Lacazette? That's what I'm kind of contemplating right now. I'm almost tempted to just go with Cancelo because I want to captain him anyway. Can you afford Armstrong to Lacazette? Might be a better move long term. So Chris Best, good insight. Unfortunately, I already tried that. And I tried to do it yesterday. I couldn't afford him by 0.1. And then Lacazette rose in price last night, so he's 0.2. I can't afford him. So I can't do that move. But 100% Chris, if I could, I would have done that. That's what I was actually going to do. If I had the exact money, I would probably do that. Dayvy, who would you captain other than Salah or Cancelo? I would consider an Arsenal attacker. I think Saka and Lacazette, not Smith Rowe, because I worry about Smith Rowe's place. I think those two are fine to do, but I think unless we get concrete news about Salah, I would probably keep him in the conversation. That's what I would probably do. You must also remember now that just because you captain Salah doesn't mean that you have to captain him. If he's going to miss out, if he's tested positive, he won't play, and then you'll get someone on your vice captain. But that's why vice captaincy this week is so important. It's more important than any week we've had, and it's basically if you're going to go safe or Maverick. I still think Cancelo is a safe option, inverted commas, just because the City game, in my opinion, is the most likely to go ahead tomorrow. But I understand that if the Arsenal game goes there today, that's definitely the most kind of nailed on to get some points. Because imagine if Salah doesn't play, you at least won some points from your captain, and that's why Lacazette could be that guy. Elena's saying, I want to get Saka, but I have Salah, Jota, Foden, Bernardo, and Bowen in. What should I do? So if you want to get Saka in, can you do Bowen to Saka? That's probably what I would do, because Bernardo will play. He trained. Foden potentially, Salah, Jota might. So I think Bowen's the person to take out. Harry's saying, let's get some likes going. Reward Dayvy for his stressful deadlines. You guys can. I mean, this is the second time I've done this, but as I always say, I don't say you guys have to like the stream. It's never a prerequisite to enjoying my terrible advice for FPL. Only joking. Ronaldo ain't going anywhere, says Alan. I can understand that because they have Newcastle coming up next. And that's the thing between today and next week, is that there's a 7-day gap. There's League Cup games, if I remember correctly, this midweek. But the majority of players will probably get rested then. So you can only assume that this 7 days of rest, most of the players should be back theoretically next week if they've tested positive either yesterday or today. And that's what I'm kind of hoping on. And that's why I understand if you guys have Ronaldo, might want to keep hold of him. But what's in front of us is that they don't have a fixture, and a Lacazette potentially does. So that could be something to take into account. James for Livramento or Lacazette for King? I think Lacazette for King. I think because King is so cheap that you can easily downgrade to him when Watford have those double game weeks. Whereas James for Livramento, apparently Dave might have tested positive. But so it's super hard for me because I want to give you guys advice, but with these rumors, they're not concrete, so I can't really say that. But I'll put it out there that there is a rumor that potentially Reece James has tested positive. I don't think it's anything to work on. I just think it's not worth bringing him in. If you have him, keep him, but it's one of those kind of don't buy, don't sell. How about transferring into Arsenal? Afraid of next game week and a positive cancellation. I can understand the positive cancellation, but my thinking and my kind of logic and common sense is telling me that if a team has postponed this week, Not saying that there's an amount of postponements that they're entitled to, but it's almost like, they're kind of pushing it a little bit if they're asking for 2 postponements over 2 weeks. I don't know if the Prem will allow that. And as I've mentioned, 7 days break, some players might return. If they're vaccinated, I think they only have to return a negative test. So I think they can continue testing until they're negative, and then they're allowed back in training. So that might be shorter than that 10-day span. You never kind of know. So I understand the Arsenal concern. I just think that most fixtures, holding thumbs, touch wood, will go ahead next week. That's what I'm just kind of hoping for. And that's why I also understand if you guys are taking like a -12, that might be too extra. I think maybe tone it down a bit because we never know what's going to happen in the future. Sell Gallagher or Bowen for Foden. Sell Gallagher or Bowen. I don't know about the Crystal Palace fixtures. I know the West Ham fixtures look great, but the Crystal Palace fixtures are also fine. I would probably keep Bowen over Gallagher slightly just because I prefer the West Ham fixtures. But between those two, what I would do, Alan, is figure out who was the reason for their bans, if it was West Ham or Crystal Palace. Because usually what they say is, like for example today, Burnley's game against Aston Villa has been cancelled due to an outbreak in Aston Villa's camp. So then it's Aston Villa's fault and not Burnley. So then you know that Burnley might actually be safe. So just go back and check why the games are kind of postponed, and then I would go with that. How much money in the bank, lad? I think 2.4 million. I said 2.5 and it was 2.4, so it is 2.4 million. Salam, is this the final lineup? No, I will be waiting as long as possible. I think you guys can understand. I'm not kind of clickbaiting you to watching the entire stream, but this week is not the week to do early transfers, and I'll be waiting as long as possible to do the Watkins to Lacazette move. That's the move that I want to do this week. Are you taking hits? I'm planning a -4 Watkins Lacazette. I'm not taking any hits. The hit I would take would be David De Gea, Ben Foster out for Ramsdale. But because I'm bringing Lacazette in, I already have triple kind of Arsenal, which is a little bit weird. I have 10 players playing. Should I take Watkins out for Jimenez? No hits taken. 100%. That's the same as me, brother. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to advise you guys to do it as well. Mark O'Leary saying James positive COVID rumors come from a fake Twitter account. So guys, as Mark is saying here, please be very careful about rumors. They are a little bit up in the air at the moment because of so much kind of concern and there's been so much emphasis on these rumors that people get attention on their Twitter accounts, and sometimes that's why they post these rumors. We also have hit 1,000 viewers. Thank you very much. That's the first time in a while I think we've hit 1,000. So I appreciate the support. Probably because no one's streaming, but we always do appreciate the support here on this channel. Tony for Gelhart, I think I'm pronouncing that right, might not, says, Adam, a good move. I don't know about that one. I think he will start. I think I've seen a lot of Leeds accounts posting that they think that he will play. I just think it's a weird move. But Adam, I don't mind it because you're downgrading him. For example, you're getting a 4.5. So that team value is still staying pretty consistent. So, I mean, it's a fine move to do, but I just don't know if I would do it. It's a little bit of a weird one. But, I mean, if he starts, I mean, you're probably going to get 2 points, which is fine. Davey, what's your favorite color? I would say about green, but I think blue-green is similar. Robert and Ruddy or Rudy, I do apologize. Thank you for the congrats. Jason's saying, if you already have 3 Arsenal players, who would you bring instead of Lacazette? Can you afford Jesus? If you can afford Jesus, maybe do that. But in terms of the other strikers, I can't see many. Like there's Wilson and that sort of thing, but he plays Man City. I mean, that's a terrible game. Yeah, it's a weird one. Okay, Adam, 100%. If you need the cash, do it, brother. Laka captain, I'd say Laka vice captain if you want to be safe. But I wouldn't captain Lacazette. I just think, even though there's no games basically going ahead, I still prefer a Man City option over Lacazette. So what I would do if you considering going for Lacazette, I would captain Cancelo, Foden, for example, and I'd put the vice captain on Lacazette. Duffy to Tomiyasu or Antonio to Lacazette. If you have money in Antonio, I would do the Duffy move. I want to keep Antonio for the foreseeable future, and that's why I'm not taking him out. But with Watkins, I would like him, but I just think that I would rather take a punt for these next 2 weeks. And what better way to take a punt with Arsenal versus Leeds, hopefully, and Norwich, hopefully I haven't jinxed this at all. Martinelli has a differential, I'll go Saka. I think Saka's a differential enough, so just go with him. This week, as I'll say, it's about certainties, guys. Martinelli had a knock. Might not play, might play. We don't know. Saka will play. So that's the general consensus. Abdullah saying, Salah has vivid, bro. So, I mean, Salah's a very vivid footballer, but I understand what you're trying to say there. Maybe you're trying to not get my chat banned for saying the C word, and I do appreciate that, Abdullah, but Salah, apparently it was an inconclusive test. Andy not streaming, so you're probably getting their viewers. Maybe, hopefully. Hopefully you guys can stick around for the end of the stream. That'll be nice. And then if Andy jumps back on, you probably will head back to him. Please, Watkins to Lacazette and Livramento to Tomiyasu. Watkins to Lacazette, like that move a lot. And Livramento to Tomiyasu, that's also a fine move to do. I don't actually have a problem with those moves, considering the Arsenal fixtures coming up. Look, I'm basing on what we have in front of us. And what we have in front of us is that Arsenal are playing Leeds as of yet, and they have Norwich next week. That game might get postponed, but who kind of knows? Like a good Vardy replacement, 100%. I have 10 players playing, 7 other transfer. I think I would do the Vardy to Laka move. If you have a free transfer. I think free transfers 100% use them this week. That's my general consensus. We have a real potential here to make up points on players that don't have a full starting 11. And I'm going to take that chance with both hands. Maybe one hand, maybe not two hands, because I'm not taking -4 for De Gea. But that's what I'm kind of going to do. How do you see Odegaard, Connor Force, Smith Rowe, and Saka? I don't know about Odegaard. I think when I was looking at predicted moves, a lot of them were having Odegaard in, so I think he's quite a safe player to get. But I think that there's just maybe too much concern about that. Sorry, I should have to reply something quickly. What's your transfer plan? So I'm going to probably do Lacazette in for Watkins. Are you hitting this week? I'm not hitting this week. I'm going for a free transfer of Ollie Watkins to Lacazette potentially. What's the plan for Alonso? Any specific plays you have in mind? Alexander, did he test positive? Because let me go check Twitter quickly. That'll probably be a good site to do. So sorry for being a little bit antisocial here. I see some people have tagged me and stuff. Okay. So I don't see too much. I don't see too much news about potential players. I don't really know where like the kind of Alonso and Chilwell moves are kind of coming for. Yeah, so the Reece James one was from a fake account, I think. But as I said, literally anyone can like test positive now. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay, so we have a super chat from Ruben saying Saka versus Smith Rowe. KDB, good captaincy shot. I would go with Saka 100%. So, and on the KDB captaincy shout, I don't know about that one. I think that you kind of want to go for certainties now, and I think that KDB is a rotation risk, I think, at this stage. So I think Saka, but I think KDB is a little bit too far. If I was going to go, look, it can be a punt. Just make sure you're vice captain on someone secure. But you don't want KDB coming on for a one-pointer. It is against Newcastle, so that could be fine to do, but it's just a little bit of a weird one. -12, too much now. Already taken a -8, but now. So FM, unfortunately, because you've already taken the -8, you can put yourself in a scenario where up until this stage, kind of ignore that hit because you've already taken it. So you're kind of getting a -4 on the player that you had. And if Lacazette gets more than 4 points than Watkins, you're looking great. So I think it's fine to do those hits. Don't blame yourself too much. It's an unfortunate situation. But just make sure you're fine with that team for the future, because I want you guys taking -12s and then you landing up with kind of 3 starters on the bench and they're not looking that great. Christian saying, I got Smith Rowe, but might regret it for Saka, I guess. If you had the option of those two, I would go with Saka over Smith Rowe. But now that you've done it, Christian, I mean, this season's luck-based anyway, so just roll with it, kind of. Usama saying, greetings from Pakistan. Saka or Smith Rowe, please suggest. 100% go for Saka. If you guys are considering those two, go for Saka. That's my 2 cents. I can't get Laka. What should I do? Andrew, I would just maybe bank then. You can go for Jesus if you can afford it, but I don't know. Matt, between Saka and Lacazette, I prefer Saka, but for my own personal team, you can see that if I took Douglas Luiz out, I have to still keep a striker. So therefore, I'd be benching a guy that has a fixture. And that's why I'm going to go for Lacazette, even though I prefer Saka between them. Brian saying Silva to Foden only. Or Livramento, Antonio, Basuma. So Silva to Foden I wouldn't do, Brian. I would keep Bernardo Silva because he trained. Livramento, Antonio, Tenny, Mount, Gellert. The Gellert move is a little bit weird for me for -4, but I understand that you need the money. Can you just do like a Livramento to a Tomiyasu? I think that move might be fine, and then just go with whatever you have. Martinelli, I like Martinelli, but I just think that this knock worries me that he picked up. He was sub because of a knock, so if he's not 100% fit, I think that Smith Rowe comes into him because Smith Rowe looks quite strong. Ellen, is it dumb to transfer out Bowen to Saka when he's most likely going to play against Leaky? It's not dumb because you can always just go for Bowen next week, and on the negative side, Saka has Norwich anyway, so that should be fine to do. Azad saying, guys, like the stream. You can like the stream, but I think I'm literally the only FPL guy streaming at the moment, so the algorithm won't really favor me anyway, but you guys can if you want to. Adam, F3 Arsenal already. Liver to a Wolves defender. Yo, that might be a move to do, Adam. If you have a free transfer, then I might do it, but just know that the Chelsea game might be a little bit sketch at the moment. We got another super chat saying Antonio King, I'd glory to Lacazette, Geralt Tomiyasu. I don't like the Antonio out move, but I can understand it. If you don't mind losing the value in it. I'd Nori's injured, hey. So King, Gellard, Tomiyasu. I'm just trying to look at the gains on that. Gellard, I don't know if he'll get anything. So let's say 2 points. Lacazette probably has the best chance out of those. Tomiyasu, if he keeps a clean sheet, that could be fine. It depends. If you're doing that for a -4, I'd say go for it. -8, it's a little bit of a weird one. I think it's fine because you're bringing in the Arsenal fixtures. And if they have Norwich up next, you're looking golden. So I think I would go for it. It just depends if Arsenal have a fixture next week. And unfortunately, we don't know what's going to happen there. Robert saying smart to be the only one streaming, or I'm just the dumbest one to be streaming because everyone else is out enjoying their Saturday morning, evenings, and afternoons. But I appreciate it. Varun saying transferring Sterling last week, starting to get cold feet. Do I keep and swap? No, keep Sterling, 100%. If you have any Man City player you have, they're all fit besides Torres. I would keep all of them. I wouldn't be doing transfers on a Man City midfielder. That's too risky for me, unfortunately. Let's see if we have another. On a free hit, Martinelli and De Bruyne or Sterling and Smith Rowe. Thanks, mate. On a free hit, Martinelli and De Bruyne or Sterling and Smith Rowe. David, can you just stretch it to Saka and De Bruyne? That's what I would try. But I understand your concerns there. Look, if you can afford De Bruyne, I would go for him. If he starts, he's class. It's just depending if he does play. If more postponements are announced, the safety score will be around 0 soon. Yes, it is. It will be true, LV. And that's why if we have a full starting 11, it only makes our team look better. I want one center forward. I'll probably only have one center forward anyways as well. Brian saying 50 minutes to the deadline. That is true. Do you see Odegaard can not afford? So as I said, Odegaard's fine, but I mean, there could be some rotation there, but I think he's fine to get if you can't afford the other two. Look, he just has to start, and that's great. Vincent saying, please help me. Watkins plus Dennis to Lacazette plus Gerrard, or from -8. I don't have enough funds to do Foden in one move. That looks fine to do, but I think you might want Dennis for the doubles coming up. But I understand. I think for a -4, that looks fine. Osama saying Laporte and Saka and Lacazette from -8. So Osama, it depends who you're taking out. But Laporte is too risky for me because he might not start. But Saka and Lacazette are 100% fine. That's what I would go. Gavin, welcome. First time on the stream. Hopefully you enjoy it. Why Tomiyasu over Tierney? Tomiyasu's cheaper, and I think he's more nailed to start. I just worry about the Tavares rotation, but that might not come this week. That might come in future game weeks. Maybe that. Machine Media says, this is the most stressed I've been in FPL for a long time. It's fine to be stressed, but everyone is in the same boat. I know not many people like that because we all have different teams, but everyone's kind of stressed. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a game, so we just have to kind of take it on the chin. Love you, Dayvy lad. Love you too, brother. Hopefully you have a good and safe weekend. Tierney all day. Dayvy doesn't watch Arsenal. 100% I don't watch Arsenal, but from what I've been reading from Arsenal fans, there could be some rotation upcoming, but as most people are saying, Tierney should start every now and again. Whereas with Tomiyasu, I don't think there's too much kind of competition there at that spot. Although Tierney's attacking threat's a lot better than Tomiyasu, so that's probably worth the extra fee you pay. Only have 8 playing. Do I take hits? So Delboy, it depends who you can bring in. If you can bring in Arsenal assets, then go for it. But otherwise, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people with only a few players. So it's not the worst game week to only have a few. 10 active players. Should I let go or go with a -8? So it depends who you can bring in, guys. Like, if you say you have 8 players, that doesn't necessarily mean that your team's fine. If you might have the 8 best players for this game week, and then you get a green arrow. It just depends on who you guys have. Look, I probably will only have 8 players. I won't have a goalkeeper. So that's kind of the thing. Still have Senor Sanchez. Should I bring in another goalkeeper? I think it's fine not to have another goalkeeper. I'm probably going to just leave it. I just think this week there's no transfers I want for a goalkeeper. And I just think that it's not worth taking a hit for a goalkeeper in this week. Man City midfielder captain instead of Mo Salah. I think you can potentially do it. I would be certain that you don't want to captain Salah then, though. If you don't want to captain Salah, I wouldn't place my vice on him or my captaincy. I'd place it on a Man City attacker or defender with Cancelo, and then I put my vice on Lacazette. Is it worth Gallagher to Sterling from -4 or Livramento Tomiyasu? I would prefer Sterling. I think if you guys can get Man City attackers in, that I would go for those moves. I think they have the highest ceiling for goals, and I think they have the highest potential for points. Would you do Smith Rowe to Bowen for a hit? Archie, I don't think I would. I would try Saka. If you can't do Saka, I would do Odegaard, but I don't know. I'm worried about Smith Rowe's rotation this week. Ty saying best Arsenal midfielder option to replace Gallagher. 100% go for Saka. I think that Saka is probably the best player to bring in this week, besides maybe a Man City attacker or defender. Holy Butter saying, hi Davey, surprised is your stream still on live at this time. So it wasn't on live the whole time. I took a break and then I've started it again. What I will do though is in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I'll go check the team news and I'll see what's happening, and then I'll do the transfer and then I'll answer the last couple questions. Get in Lacazette, some other striker for a hit. Lacazette, 100%. If you can get him, I think he's the best striker to get. Taking a -8 hit to transfer out Ronaldo and Brownhill. Total 17.2 million. What will your 2 genuine picks be to bring in? I would go with 2 Man City midfielders. I would go with Lacazette. No, actually, no, you have Ronaldo. What am I saying? I would get Lacazette and I would get Foden if you can. Can you get that? I think you can. You'll have enough money for that. Get Foden and get Lacazette. And Kik, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Bro, should I sell Bernardo Silva? Don't sell Bernardo Silva. He trained this week, so he might be fine to play. Of these 3, pick 2. Foden, KDB, Sterling. I'd pick Foden and KDB, Patrick. Get in KDB. I'd say only get in KDB if you're on like a free hit or something like that. It's too hard. It's too hard to predict the Man City lineup. G-Ball saying, Davey, please check my question. No worries, brother. Watkins and Gallagher to Lacazette and Saka for -4. G-Ball, I like those moves. I would do Lacazette and Saka. That's what I would do. Femi with a super chat saying, who would you prioritize, Alonso or Foden? I have 2 free transfers. Also thinking of Vardy to Galot or to at least get a playing striker. Do Foden and do Lacazette if you have 2 free transfers, Femi. I think that looks like a much better kind of situation to do. Okay, let's go check Twitter shortly since we have 10 minutes left. And I'll give you the most up-to-date news that might be fake, might be not. We'll see. So, okay, so apparently there's no current doubts over the Chelsea game going ahead. There might be some players that have tested positive, but as of now, it looks like the Chelsea game should be fine. And I think it might be fine to do moves, guys. It might be. That's all I'm going to say. Let's hope so. Imagine the deadline comes and then 5 minutes later they postpone the game. I mean, what can we do then? At least we haven't kind of spent a hit or something like that. So just in case, we'll do another 5-minute warning and then we'll see. But I think we should be fine to go. So what I would do, guys, I would go on your phone or on the website or whatever, and I would get the moves locked in so long, and then we can just confirm them when we do it. Matt saying yesterday we thought the Villa game was fine. So Matt, we did, but it was 24 hours, you know, like these games, it could have been postponed. At least it was before the deadline. Because imagine if the game that was meant to start, I think it was United vs Brighton, went ahead. Then we wouldn't have had that news, and then we would have all these Villa players and nothing to show for it. Light Rays, who are you going to captain and vice captain? I will captain Salah and I'll vice captain Lacazette. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just keeping the team up for now, but actually what I can do is let's put it on Watkins for now, and then when we make the transfer, it will automatically go to Lacazette. That's what we can do. James has tested positive, says Harry. Apparently it might have been a fake account, so just go check the accounts again. But he could. I mean, any player can literally be positive as of now. Not enough in the bank to do Watkins, Lacazette. Going to take it as, okay, 100% Holy Butts. That's perfectly fine to do. If you guys don't want to take hits, this week is probably the week to not take hits for. That's probably what I'd say. LV saying, remember to reassign your vice captain. I've got it on Watkins right now, but it will become Lacazette when I do the move. Luke Oosthuizen saying captain Cancelo or Foden as a differential or play safe as I'm overally ranked 16k. Luke, that's a great rank to be at. In my opinion, I'd play it safe. I think that if Salah plays, Spurs is a good game to kind of have him play, for example. I think it's the worst game in the world. And I mean, at this stage, I think there's not going to be many people taking punts on captaincy. So 16k, I would probably just stick with safety. Downgrade King to random player and then Wilson to Lacazette. If that means that you can get another player out, that looks fine. If you can get a player for King that starts, such as a Gellert, I think that's even better. Why not Antonio to Lacazette? I have too much money, Mohamed, in Antonio, and with Watkins, he's more disposable, I feel. I can always bring him back in, and I feel that if next week goes ahead anyway, they face Chelsea, whereas West Ham face, if I do remember, it's Southampton. And that's a better fixture in my eyes. Vice captain Ramsdale, if that's the only Arsenal kind of goalkeeper you have, or Arsenal player you have, I would do it, but I think I would be slightly tempted to go with a Cancelo captain then. Just because the ceiling on a goalkeeper usually isn't too high. Are you taking a hit? I'm not. I'm probably just going to take a free transfer for Lacazette. Bernardo, Grealish or Saka, I think you have to go with the Man City option this week, and I think Grealish might start instead of Bernardo, but I think Bernardo's a safe option to go for, so I would probably go for him. Real Novice for the super chat saying wanting to get in Ramsdale for a while now. -4 for Laka and Ramsdale. If you have wanted to get him in for a while, then that's fine to do. That's like your own gut feeling kind of, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Jack saying free it. I would try not to, just because game week 20 or game week 90 might not go ahead. That might be a little bit better. Might not be that great for a free it. Who do you think Saka will perform better than? Oh, why? I think Saka will start. That's the first thing. That's probably the only reason why I think he will outperform Smith Rowe, is that he will play. That's my opinion. Matt saying Cancelo captain locked in. That's pretty good captain there if he manages to start. And I mean, I think Cancelo scores more points than Salah this week. I'm going to say that. Mecca saying, is it right that Leeds have only 9 available players? So Mecca, I saw that yesterday. It might not be true, but I think it might be too far to kind of postpone the game now. It might be. I mean, we've seen games be postponed an hour before. Kieran saying, -4 for Watkins to Jesus, worth it? I would take the punt, because if I think Jesus starts, Kieran, he plays Newcastle, and that's a haul in my opinion. I would probably do the -4, but just be prepared if Jesus doesn't start, he might still come off the bench and score, but that might be a bit of a tricky situation. Douglas Luiz and Vardy to Foden and Lacazette from -4. That looks perfect in my eyes. Watkins, Lacazette, Gallagher to Foden. All these moves look great in my opinion. It's similar to the Foden-Watkins move last week. That move just makes sense to me, I think. Foden or Lacazette? Foden. Dimitrios, I favor Man City 100% of the time this week. Luck and Foden for Rafinha and Ronaldo. Look, Rafinha has a fixture, so that's probably I wouldn't do. I would try and upgrade one of your other midfielders rather. Like, surely you have another midfielder to kind of go for. So as G-Ball's saying, time to confirm the transfers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go check Twitter for the last time here. It looks fine, guys. I think we're looking Gucci. I don't think there's a problem here with any kind of any postponements. Touch wood. Let's hope so. But let's kind of lock in that Lacazette for Watkins move. So Watkins out. We're going for Lacazette. Let's hope he stays on penalties and scores one, because otherwise I'm going to be sad. How many minutes did he play? So he's been playing a few minutes. I think this is a fine move to do. Watkins out for Lacazette. We're going to confirm this transfer. He's going to be our vice captain. This is going to be our team for game week 18. Blank game week 18, let me say. Captaincy still on Mo Salah. I think he's a fine captain to go for. If he's tested positive, he won't play. I don't think he'll be rested if he has. And that's going to be the transfer that we have locked in. So Lacazette has entered the building. Hopefully he's not rested or rotated. And I don't think we're going to get any more news before the deadline. So you guys can maybe do the transfers. Let's go. FPL saying Leeds Arsenal is cancelled. So that would be a nightmare. I don't know what I would do if that happened. I think I'm in a similar situation though with most people. Most people have Ramsdale. I've Ben White. I've got Smith Rowe. Some people have Saka. Lacazette. You know. Vice captain on Saka or Lacazette. I would go Saka for the ceiling. I think he has a high ceiling. And my vice captain is going to be a Lacazette, because if the game tomorrow gets postponed, I at least want a guaranteed vice captain. Seeing your face twice a day. Christmas came early, says slamming. I mean, if that's your Christmas present, hopefully your Christmas presents might be a little bit better than that, but I do appreciate the kind words they're slamming. Ronaldo Lacazette. This is for a -4. Lacazette, Ronaldo won't play. I would do the Ronaldo to Lacazette move though if you're asking for a -4, Jay. Saka, no, yes, no, that might be kind of the go ahead, but I'm going to start Smith Rowe anyway. Gellert going to haul, that could be the case. Can you explain what a ceiling is in FPL term? So ceiling is basically the maximum amount of points that theoretically a player can get. For example, a goalkeeper, usually their ceiling is a clean sheet. Might get a couple of save points, but with the midfielder, their clean sheet could be a double-digit haul, for example. And that's why the ceiling could be the higher and the floor is the lowest score they can get. Good on you for the last-minute stream. Thanks, Nick. I do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this stream. It was a little bit impromptu. We'll assess the situation afterwards, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys are new viewers, consider subscribing if you've enjoyed the content, because I do create videos kind of every single week for the upcoming game weeks and usually stream before the deadlines. Saka or Lacazette for the vice captain, go for Saka. Tierney, Ryan, fine option to go for. Cancelo or Salah to go for. Salah safety, Cancelo differential. I want to captain Salah this week. I want to captain Cancelo this week, but I'm not brave enough. Thanks, Alexander. Hopefully you have a safe weekend as well, brother. Dayvy, can you put all your players on the bench for fun? Elvis, I'm not going to be that kind of a scammer. I'm going to play it well here. Thanks, David, for the kind words. Appreciate it, brother. I have Watkins, Antonio, Huang. Would you do a minus? I would do a -4 to bring in Lacazette. I would do that. Son to Mount and Armstrong to Lacazette. I would keep Son if the Liverpool fixture goes ahead. I think he's a fine option. Don't play the bench boost, guys. 100%. Nick, thanks for subscribing. Look, if you watch my videos and don't subscribe, I don't blame you. I mean, that's something that people sometimes do. But unfortunately, guys, the deadline has commenced. So hopefully the game tonight does go ahead. Otherwise, I might be seeing you guys tomorrow for another deadline stream. But I think the deadline will hopefully commence with that Arsenal vs Leeds game going ahead. Thanks, Carlo. Thanks for the kind words. I'm going to jump off quickly, guys, and I think you understand why. I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my Saturday. Even though the stream has been quite enjoyable, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it right now. Hopefully the green arrows are in our favor, and the games tomorrow still do go ahead, so at least we have some football to go ahead. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.